Hi, this is Adam Ginsberg, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to share with you a little known source for buying product to sell on Amazon, and that is Toys R Us. Now, lots of times when I bring this up, people will comment to me that Toys R Us has gone out of business. That is in fact correct. However, if you understand how to find it, you'll know that Toys R Us is back. Now, let me give you a little history. For years, Toys R Us was our number one source for buying product to sell on Amazon. In fact, at our live in-person seminars, we'd spend an extensive amount of time teaching people exactly how to find product on Toys R Us that they can turn around and flip for a profit. Then, out of the blue, without any notice, Toys R Us closed. They went out of business. I wrote about that in this best-selling book called Outside Influences, Catalytic Concepts for Understanding How Life Really Works. And in the book, I talk about how one day Toys R Us simply closed their doors. And the fact is that if you were using Toys R Us as your source to sell on Amazon, that source now went away. That, by definition, is an outside influence, something that we simply can't control. Now, some of our sellers at that time wanted to blame me for their inability to make any money selling on Amazon. Why is that? Because I told them to source from Toys R Us, and now Toys R Us was no longer an option. Well, clearly, I don't have any control over Toys R Us or how they run their business. I can only make suggestions. Obviously, you, running an e-commerce Amazon business, have to make your own decisions. You also have to understand that you can't rely on just one source. Obviously, Toys R Us was great, but it shouldn't be the only place that you knew how to find product from. The reality is, if you know how to source product from Toys R Us, you know how to source product from any retailer's website. However, I have some super awesome, exciting news. So yes, Toys R Us went out of business, and when they did that, Amazon started buying and selling those items on Amazon that were the best sellers. So rather than customers buying from Toys R Us, they would simply go to Amazon. Amazon saw Toys R Us's demise as an opportunity for Amazon to sell those toys. Well, here's the best part. Toys R Us is back. Toys R Us has decided that rather than opening brick and mortar stores, they're actually going to open inside of Macy's. Now, that isn't relevant. Honestly, it isn't that important. Why? Because if you're part of our Internet Mastery community, you understand that I believe that you should be sourcing your product online and not in person anyway. So regardless of whether Toys R Us has their own brick and mortar, or if they are open within Macy's and there's no Macy's in your area, it doesn't make a difference. As long as you know where to find Toys R Us online, you'll have the potential to buy these items and sell them on Amazon. Now, most people, when I say that, head right over to toysrus.com. The fact is that toysrus.com is not the home of where you'll find all the inventory from Toys R Us that you'll want to resell. When Toys R Us went out of business, somebody bought the toysrus.com domain name, and they opened up a website, which is actually more of an affiliate website that has certain items on it. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But now that Toys R Us is back in business and they are located within Macy's, the Toys R Us destination online is actually part of Macy's.com, and I'll show you that as well. So Toys R Us is an amazing place to find product. First of all, toys are one of the best-selling items on Amazon. And secondly, Toys R Us opens up an incredible array of product that we might not be able to get anywhere else. So with that being said, let me go ahead and jump in. Let me give you an overview of what to look for and what not to look for when you're sourcing on Toys R Us. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to head over to toysrus.com. Now, as I mentioned, this is the website that you simply want to avoid. toysrus.com is not going to have the discounts and the deals and the brands and the items that you're going to want to focus on. So if you go to toysrus.com and you do some product research, you're not going to end up with the best opportunities and options for you to grow your arbitrage, your retail arbitrage business. So then the question is, how do we find the proper place to go? The answer is very simple. It's Macy's.com/Toys R Us. Remember what I said earlier, Toys R Us is now opening up within Macy's. So yes, there are some Macy's that have Toys R Us areas inside them, kind of like Best Buy has a little Apple store within Best Buy. Now we've got these Toys R Us stores that are opening up within Macy's. And there might be one in your area. You might be wandering through. You might decide you want to pick up some items, bring them home, send them to Amazon for fulfillment. Do all of that yourself. Certainly that is an option. It's not what I'm suggesting, but it is something that you could do if it's an option in your area. The reality is that for most people, it is not an option in their area. So we've got to focus ourselves to doing the business online. The other thing that I want to mention is that if you're really wanting to have a turnkey, hands-free Amazon business, a solution where you don't have to go into the stores, you don't have to box or label or package anything, you don't have to receive any inventory, you don't have to do that part of the business. If you're looking for an ability to have the freedom to run this business from anywhere in the world, and if you're watching this video from somewhere outside of the US, understand I want you to pay attention and stay tuned, because this is an opportunity for you from anywhere in the world. So we're going to go to Macy's.com/Toys R Us. And when we go to Macy's.com/Toys R Us, you will notice that this page looks very different from this page. Now, how do you know if you're in the right place? Well, you know because you'll see the Macy's logo in the upper left-hand corner. So if you see Macy's, then you know you're on the right Toys R Us page. If there is no Macy's, you are not on the correct page. Now, here you will find all kinds of opportunities available to you. In fact, if we scroll down just a little bit at the time of this recording, there are 14,084 items on Toys R Us. 14,000 opportunities where we can buy an item and sell it on Amazon for more than we paid for it on Toys R Us. Now, one of the questions people ask is, why wouldn't everyone just go to Toys R Us? Well, first of all, Amazon Prime buyers want to buy on Amazon. Second of all, most people, including some of you that are watching this video, don't even know that this version of Toys R Us actually exists. Some people think Toys R Us is still out of business. So that in and of itself, if you understand it, creates incredible opportunity. Why? Because the whole world is not aware of this yet. Now, more and more people will become aware of it. So there is a short-term windfall by getting involved with Toys R Us as an arbitrage source right now. But in this particular case, we can see that there are 14,084 opportunities. Now, how do you get from 14,000 down to 4 or 5 good ones? Well, obviously, what we don't want to do is spend hours and hours and hours going through all of this data. So I want to show you a quick shortcut on a way that you can find the best deals as fast as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the left, and on the left-hand side, you can see there's an area called Offers. And where it says underneath Offers, it says Limited Time Specials, Lowest Price of the Season, Special Offers, Clearance and Closeout, Last Act, and Sales and Discount. Well, obviously, if you've got 14,000 items on your site and 12,600 of them have special offers, those are not going to be the best deals. But we can quickly sort through some of these options to see what's available. So the first one that I want to select with you is Last Act. And I'm doing this for a specific reason. One of the things you're going to find in toys is that there are some toys you literally can't sell no matter who you are or what you do. They are brand restricted. So while the toy category might be open, the brand, such as Barbie, for example, or Lego, just simply might be out of bounds. You will not be able to apply to get ungated in a brand if that brand is brand restricted because of the brand itself, not the listing, but the brand itself, using retail invoices. The only way to get unrestricted is to purchase wholesale and then get approval using those wholesale invoices. That's beyond the scope of this video, but I just want to make you aware of that, because when I look at the last act, what you'll see is that we've got FAO Schwarz, Melissa and Doug, FAO Schwarz, Super Mario, FAO Schwarz, Melissa and Doug, FAO Schwarz. Lots of Melissa and Doug and FAO Schwarz. As a general rule, FAO Schwarz and Melissa and Doug are both brands you will not be able to sell. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, because every Amazon account is different. You may be able to apply and get approved for a listing, even if you can't get approved for that brand. There's so many different variables. But I'm just sharing that with you because if you are constantly looking up items and then finding nothing, looking it up, finding nothing, and always feeling like everything you're looking at is restricted, you might be in the wrong brand. So that's very important to understand. And again, as your Amazon account becomes more aged, more seasoned, you sell more items, your Amazon metrics go up, you'll automatically be able to get ungated in certain items much easier. But in the short run, just know that some of these more popular brands might be off limits no matter what you do, unless you're buying them wholesale. So what I would recommend is, rather than sort by this last act, I'm not even sure that I would do the clearance and closeout. By the way, clearance and closeout includes last act. And the same thing with these different options here. So I'm going to select sales and discounts. Now you'll see here that we've got Barbie, Discovery, Melissa and Doug, Lego, Pokemon, some pretty big name brands, Sharper Image. One other important point that I want to mention to you is that we are at the forefront of the relaunch of Toys R Us. Now, why is that important? As I mentioned, when Toys R Us went out of business, Amazon started buying from the manufacturer directly some of the most popular brands. So Amazon became the seller of those brands, along with whoever else was still able to get access to them on a wholesale capacity. Doesn't mean Amazon is the only seller, although even in some cases now they are. I want to strongly advise against competing with Amazon for the buy box or a listing, knowing that Amazon obviously can get it at a better price than we can, and Amazon will always feature themselves first. So if you're seeing a lot of Amazon, they probably have a relationship with that brand. Now, the good news is, now that Toys R Us is back, Amazon is going to sell through their inventory and no longer be reordering those items. So as long as we understand that, this gives us an opportunity down the road to come back and see what other things are available. But right from the very beginning, if you're finding that a particular brand is gated, stay away from it. If you're finding that a particular brand seems like every item has an Amazon seller associated with it, then stay away from that. The whole point I'm trying to make here is that by doing that process, you will save yourself a lot of time in terms of your research. The other thing that I really want to encourage you to do while you're doing Toys R Us research is to make sure that you're doing this research on a laptop or a desktop using Google Chrome. As an Internet Mastery community member, you have access to the single most powerful Amazon extension ever created for Amazon sellers, called SpyRivals X. This unique proprietary technology will tell you instantly whether or not you can list that item. And if you can, that's what we want to find. If you can't, then it will give you a direct link to apply right through your Amazon seller account. And you'll be surprised that more than 30% of the items where you click that link, you will get instant approval. Now, again, if you're picking a brand like Barbie, for example, you might never get instant approval. So depending on the brand will depend on your instant approvals as well. There's a lot to learn. And obviously, we can't learn it all in this one video. But what I want you to take as a takeaway from this video is to be able to use Toys R Us as a product sourcing opportunity for you. So let's just take a quick peek here at what we have, and I'll give you an example of how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to click on this Sharper Image item, the Lumo Stunt Remote Control Drone Set. Now, I randomly picked this item. This might be an opportunity. This might not be an opportunity. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the title, and I'm going to head over to Amazon, and I'm going to paste that title into Amazon search. When I do, I'll see whether or not that item is on Amazon. And there's a possibility that the item is or isn't on Amazon. So this is the Sharper Image Lumo Stunt, and it looks like this is the Sharper Image Lumo Stunt, but not in the same color. So what I'm going to do here is, let's see, I don't see it. So I'm going to click on this listing to see if they offer the black one, and they do not. So what I'm going to do is head right back over to Toys R Us. Now, you may spend a few extra minutes and you may find it, but for this video and for the purposes of giving you an example of what we're looking for, I'm just going to go through the process fairly quickly. So let's take a look at this one here. This is a Pokemon TCG Sword and Shield trainer box. I'll copy this item and I'll head over to Amazon. Now, again, what I want you to think about is that Toys R Us is just on its way back in, and a lot of people are not aware of it. So what that means is that a lot of the items might not be on Amazon yet. It creates opportunity for you not to list the item, but to check back in 15 and 30 days to see if that item is now on Amazon. Now, what we can see here, if we look back at Toys R Us, we can see that this item is $35.99. We can also see by looking at the listing on Amazon that the item price is $35.99. And in this particular case, it is shipped and sold by Amazon. We can also see that there are 51 other sellers. Now, when we click on Spy Rivals X, you'll also see that you need approval to list this item. But when there are 51 sellers, the likelihood that you'll get approved automatically is very high. But the fact is that in this case, what we can see is that Amazon is selling the item. Now, when Amazon is selling the item, one of the other things you should know is that Amazon has access to the Macy's and Toys R Us database. They have access. I can't tell you how their technology works, but I'm telling you, they have access. That's why you'll find that when Amazon is the seller and Toys R Us puts it on sale, and by the way, this works for every major website, Best Buy, all of them. When the website puts the item on sale, so we see here at Toys R Us, it's $35.99. Amazon will automatically match that price because Amazon will sell the items for a loss just to make sure that their retail competitors don't have a better price than Amazon. So if Amazon is the seller, the likelihood that the price is exactly the same as the retailer is very, very high. I share that with you because sometimes when people look at this, they say, oh, well, I can't make any money because the price is always the price and there's no profit there. That is the case when Amazon is the seller most of the time. The good news is that I just recommended that if Amazon is the seller, you skip the item anyway. And if you're going to skip the item anyway, the price is irrelevant. If we take a look further down, you'll see that Amazon just happens to have the lowest price. Now, in this particular case, this seller is 1 penny less than Amazon, and yet Amazon still holds the buy box. So I would recommend, again, just stay away from listing and selling items that Amazon's already selling. We can come back here and we can take a look at different items. But what I want you to know is that with 2,834 opportunities, there are definitely some good ones that perhaps we can find. So maybe it is a sharper image item like this. I'm just going to open a couple of them. And maybe it is a PJ Masks like this. And look at that. That actually is the drone we saw earlier with the white color instead of the black color. So we're going to be able to look that one up as well. Now, in this result page, we have some options here as well. We can sort by price lowest to high or high to low, but we cannot search by brand. We cannot remove certain brands. When you're doing your search, another option is to start with the lowest to the highest price. My recommendation when I'm sourcing product is that if the item is $9.99 on a regular price and it's on sale for $9.49, I get to save 50 cents. I skip that one. I'm looking for the ones that are on sale, clearance, or closeout that have a larger differential. I don't want to tell you which one, and I don't want to tell you how much, but I like the larger differential. So for example, when we look at this item, we'll see that it's on sale for $30.99. The regular price is $89.99. Doesn't mean we're going to have a good deal on Amazon. It just means that this price differential is something that I'm interested in looking at. So I'm going to copy the title here. I'm going to head over to Amazon and I'm going to see if it's there. Now, again, what's interesting is that some of the items are here, some of the items are not here. It looks very quickly that this particular item is not there. However, we do know that this item is there. So I'm going to take a look at this one more time just to try a comparative. So I'm going to head up here. I'm going to copy the title. I'm going to paste it in, and there it is. We know that this is here by default because we looked at the black one earlier, and now we can see here that this one is available. So the first thing that I'm going to do before I do anything is I'm going to check to see whether I can sell that item. I'll click on Spy Rivals X and look what it says. Great. There are no listing restrictions. No listing restrictions. What does that mean? It means I know that right away I can sell that item. Now, does that mean that all sharper image items are going to be available for me to sell? I can't say that, but this particular one is. So to me, I would look at as many sharper image items as I can find. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to take a look and see what our price opportunities are. So I'm going to look back at our listing, and we can see that this item is $34.99. If I click on See All Buying Options, what you'll see here is that there are only two options, and both are from the same person, Freehold Collective and Freehold Collective. They are selling it for whatever reason as an FBA and as an FBM listing. But what I really want you to see is that the price point is $39.99 and the price point here is $34.99. Now, again, can we make a lot of money with this? Probably not. However, what I want you to notice is that because Amazon is not the seller, there is a difference in price. So when Amazon is the seller, they're going to match what you see on Macy's.com/Toys R Us. But when Amazon is not the seller, that's when you have the opportunity to make those sales. Now, if I'm looking at this particular item, one of the things that we can do is we can click on the Add to Cart button. And when we click on the Add to Cart button, we can see how many we can order. In this case, the maximum number that I can order is 2. That's the maximum. If I were to click on the FBM option, we can see that this particular seller has at least 29 of these in stock that they are willing to sell. Now, we don't know whether they own them or not. We don't know whether they have to order them wholesale to get them in. We don't know if they're drop shipping. We don't know what they're doing. And quite frankly, we don't really care. The only thing that we care about is that this particular item is sold FBA, and the way we know that is it says sold by, and there it is, Freehold Collective, and ships from Amazon. So that's how we know that this item is sitting in an Amazon warehouse. We also know that when we go to place the order, there are only 2 available. Why? Because when I go to the drop-down menu, I'll see 1 or 2. I can't order 3. So now that we know that there are only 2 units left from that seller in terms of their FBA listing, and they've got about 20 or 30 available on their FBM listing, let's take a quick peek at our Spy Rivals X data. And we'll see here that in this case, 1.09 or approximately 30 units are selling every month. So what that means is that even if the FBA run out and the FBM is the only listing available, this seller has about 30 days worth of inventory. But what Spy Rivals and Spy Rivals X will do is they'll tell you how many we estimate based on an algorithm of more than 1 million listings and a proprietary formula that has been created to help you on your sell-through and your velocity. How many should you buy that you could sell in the first month? And the answer is about 3, 2.5 to 3. So on the surface, if we can sell this for a profit, if the FBA listing expires and we're the only FBA seller, we can raise the price, we can sell it for a profit. It looks like 3 is a good number. But I want to do one more bit of research to determine whether or not this is a good seller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Spy Rivals lookup button, and it's going to take me to that data on Spy Rivals. And what you can see if I click the pop-up is the historical data. Now, the historical data for this particular item is going to show you some very interesting things. Number one, the item is not as popular today as it was 3 or 4 months ago. The second thing is I want to take a quick peek here at this third-party price and the Amazon price. There is no Amazon price in the historical data, so Amazon has never actually sold this item. But in the historical data of the third-party price, and we are third-party sellers, we can see that the price has been pretty consistent at $35, and the price has now gone up to $39.99. The price at some point in history has this item selling at $75 and $80 and $62 and $60. So there is precedent and history for this item to sell in the $60 price range. So would I take a risk on this? I would. I would buy 2 or 3 of them just to test and see how it goes. Now, obviously, I could always lower my price and put it into a variable of what's possible and what's probable and how high can we go. I'm a proponent of raising the price, not lowering the price. But in this case, there aren't 40 other sellers. There's not a lot of competition. There is demand, and it potentially could be a good seller. So the purpose of this listing was not to find you a deal. The purpose of this listing was to share with you some of the high-level concepts on, number one, why Toys R Us is such a gold mine. Number two, what to look for on the Toys R Us website. And number three, how to maximize the power and the speed of what Spy Rivals X and Spy Rivals can offer you as an Amazon seller and being part of our Internet Mastery community. Listen, at the end of the day, this is your business. So you're going to have to spend time and effort looking for and finding products. Now, before I wrap up, there's one more thing that I want to mention to you. When you are doing this business properly, and I shared with you earlier the ability to have that financial freedom you're looking for, what you want to do is very simple. You want to go online, you want to find your items at Toys R Us, Macy's.com/Toys R Us. You want to buy those items after you've carefully done your research. And then, and here's the and then secret, you want to send those items into the Internet Mastery Prep Center. We will receive them, we will sticker them, we will send them off to Amazon on your behalf. You get paid when they sell, And now you have a turnkey business. You go online, you buy the inventory from Toys R Us, you send it to the prep center sends it to Amazon. You never receive it, you never unbox it, you never touch it. You never have to focus on the stickering or the monotonous part of doing the business, which is the packaging and the labeling. Let the prep center take care of all of that for you. It gets to Amazon, they will warehouse it, they will ship it to the customer, and now you have the ultimate business, the ultimate e-commerce opportunity where you can make money from anywhere in the world, do the things you want to do with the people you want to do them with as often as humanly possible, and have that financial freedom. So I want you now to go out and source from Toys R Us. Give it a shot. Utilize some of these strategies. Obviously, I didn't find a specific product for you. That's your job. At the end of the day, tens of thousands of people will watch this video. So if I did find a specific product that you should buy, thousands of people would be doing that. That's not the point. The point is to empower you, to give you the information and the insight and the education and the strategies and the tips for you to take control of your business and take it to the next level.